let's talk all about how to pick the right puppy for you. Now, one of the things that makes our breeding program at Empire Ranch Frenchie so special is that we do temperament testing on our puppies at 7 weeks old. This right here is Bacon. He's 7 weeks old. The reason we do temperament testing at 7 weeks old is because that's when their traits or their temperament is settled in, and we could really get a feel for where they're at and what type of tendencies they're going to have as an adult. Now, what is temperament testing and why is that important to you as a puppy buyer? You're so cute. I know Bacon's really cute, and often we fall in love with pictures or videos of a puppy that we see online, and it just pulls at our heartstrings, and that's the puppy that we want. But the most important thing about a puppy is going to be if its temperament, its natural tendencies and personality traits will match your lifestyle and your household. For example, the temperament traits that we test are things like energy level, which is super important. If you're a very energetic person, you might not match well with a low energy dog. If you want a dog that you're gonna want to take on hikes with you and things like that, and your dog is a very low energy dog, that might not be the right dog for you. Or if it's the opposite, if you are not a very active person and you can't commit to, for example, having to exercise the dog for intense exercise for 2 hours a day, that might not be the right match for you. Now, temperament varies within a breed. So yes, these are French Bulldogs. Yes, within the French Bulldog breed, there are certain tendencies or characteristics of French Bulldogs because they've been bred over centuries to have certain characteristics and qualities. But even within a breed, there's going to be different temperaments. You may have a dog that's more assertive or dominant. You may have a dog that is more submissive and passive. As a breeder, it's my job to make the recommendations and to inform you on the puppy that you're interested in or the puppy that you're considering getting, to let you know what those obstacles might be based on their temperament or if it's a perfect match. Now, I do the temperament testing and I provide all of our puppy families with all the information so that they're equipped to do right by their puppy. I'll give you an example here. Bacon is a very human-focused dog, so he will do very well with a person that wants a dog that's gonna need a lot of love and attention. He would be the perfect dog for someone who wants a dog that is obsessed with them. Some dogs might have natural tendencies to be very dog focused. So maybe you're shopping for a second dog because you want your dog to get a dog. Maybe the ideal dog in that situation for you would be a dog that is more dog focused rather than human focused. There's even certain situations where somebody wants to get a possible emotional support pet or a therapy dog. Now, those dogs, for example, if the dog is too tender-hearted, which could mean basically tender-hearted is a trait where the dog is very in tune to the emotions of the human. So if I have a lot of anxiety or I'm upset about something, that's going to affect the dog strongly. And then that's where we could come into issues, like if you're putting a very tender-hearted dog that's very sensitive to human emotion, if you're putting that dog with a person that has anxiety and a lot of stress or maybe even depression in their life, that dog wouldn't be a good fit as an emotional support pet. You're going to end up with a dog that has an emotional support dog that needs an emotional support dog, like they like to say, or an emotional support dog that's going to have anxiety because it's reflecting back what the human is giving them. Another example of a trait that we test for is like prey drive. So I would say the prey drive, a dog with a high prey drive is not necessarily a good fit for someone who maybe has small children because the dog might see them as something to chase and bite. Now, when it comes to these temperaments, it doesn't mean that like if you fall in love with a dog, you see a picture of a dog, you fall in love with it, and that's the dog that you want, and then I tell you that it has these certain traits that are not a good fit for you. It doesn't mean that you can't get that dog. What it means is that it might be more work and more commitment to make that dog work for your family and for your lifestyle. So that's where we would have that conversation and find out if you're willing, ready, and able to make that kind of commitment because you really want that particular dog, if that makes sense. For example, a person that's more passive, and if it's matched with a person that is more assertive, with a dog that is more assertive, if you're a very passive person that has difficulty setting boundaries with like people in your life, and you're paired with a dog that is more assertive or dominant, you're gonna have to work more on training and things like that. So when puppy families or buyers are paired with dogs that are not this seamless match for them, that's when we have issues of puppies ending up in shelters or rehoming and things like that. So it's really important to seek out a breeder that does temperament testing or has this type of knowledge and can really actually match you with the best pet. If you liked some of the information that I gave, make sure to follow our TikTok pages and all of our social media because I will be posting our temperament testing results this week. So stay tuned. If you have any questions about any of our puppies, please send me a message. This little guy, we are accepting applications for, and his temperament is amazing. One thing I did also want to note is that there's no such thing as a bad temperament or traits that are undesirable. There are certain traits such as assertiveness, for example, like I mentioned earlier, a more dominant dog that would be great in certain with certain people or in certain situations. For example, some Frenchies can make great cardiac alert dogs, and a dog that is more assertive would be an excellent cardiac alert dog. I meant diabetic alert dog, sorry. And the reason for that is because they have to be really persistent. And for example, they might have to wake up a person to alert them. So things like that. Now, where does this concept of temperament testing come from? Am I making this all up? What is the science behind it? Now, temperament testing is something that was developed originally for seeing eye dogs. So originally we needed certain traits and certain characteristics that would be great for seeing eye dogs, dogs that were working on specific tasks. Later on, that temperament testing for seeing eye dogs has evolved, and there are now breeders who have taken the seeing eye dog temperament testing, the original testing, and done certain modifications to it, just to temperament test dogs in general for pet homes or service animals or other type of work such as emotional support or therapy. So the testing that we follow is a little bit more broad than the seeing eye dog test, and it tells us specifically in what situations the dogs would be excellent for and what type of obstacles they might overcome based off of their temperament in certain situations. So if you have any questions about any of this, please don't hesitate to contact us, and we're happy to answer any questions.